Fintechs continue to place our country on the global startup and financial maps. Beyond that, they have helped to deepen financial inclusion while making it easier to perform various types of financial transactions that were previously cumbersome and in some cases non-existent. My guest on the show has a lot to share about the impact of fintechs. Guess what? We have a lot more lined up for you right after now. I am Chukwemeka Agbata. Welcome to Tech Trends.
Innovation comes out of great human ingenuity and very personal passions.
Climate change is having a major impact on food security, and concerned stakeholders are desperate to increase the world's vegetal cover as one way to slow down the effects. Such a vision will definitely require some innovation, and technology comes to the rescue. The use of small unmanned aerial vehicles, commonly known as drones, are known to have a huge potential in the improvement of sustainable agriculture, and this Dubai-based technology company, Kafu, is surely taking advantage of its prospects. Its team of engineers and experts have built a drone capable of planting 10,000 seeds in 20 minutes. Their aim? To show that planting seeds by drone technology is a much more efficient method.
Our main motive is to make life better for our customers and the residents here in the UAE by using innovation and technology. So the technology part is very important to provide, convenience in motion. And this sort of strategy was particularly valuable during the peak of the pandemic. So really how this is changing the world is through our use of technology. Everyone is becoming more tech savvy, so are companies. And what we're trying to do here is play a bigger role in using technology for good in the agricultural industry. So just to give you a bit of context, using traditional planting method, it could take months to plant 4,000 trees. In a matter of minutes, our built-in, in-house built drone technology could do just that. And it's not just about the actual planting, but for each seed ball we plant, we get the geographical location, so at a later date we can assess the plant's health and the plant's count. And right now, all of this is done using a remote control, a computer, and a trigger to dispense. But soon our plan is to really scale horizontally using swarm planting, so more drones, doing it faster, doing it quicker.
This planting mechanism comprises two main parts: the drone, which is responsible for flight, and the payload, used to house seeds and also shoot them into the ground at a 10-meter height.
The drone itself, or the part that is responsible for flight, it's a general purpose drone that you can purchase. It's usually used for cinematography, surveying, but everything that you see underneath the drone, which we refer to as the payload, is manufactured and sourced here in the UAE. This is the system that is responsible for dispatching the seed balls with the force required, and all the electronics, software, and the hardware on the manufacturing of that has been done in the UAE, more specifically at Kafu.
It is able to carry 400 seeds per mission, which can last up to 30 minutes. Powered by batteries, the drone has an inbuilt camera, which allows a human operator to control navigation. But this may change in time as the builders are looking to improve on the technology.
We asked ourselves, as a tech company, how can we use technology for good? Really, how can we really make positive impact? What can we do for the environment, for the community? And this is where the Kafu Ghaf planting project, was born. The model that we're building here is to plant in a desert environment, and I tell you, it was not easy. We ran through obstacles, we ran through hurdles. It was a journey from understanding the theory behind drone technology to understanding the mathematical calculations, how much force we need to penetrate the seed ball into the soil, to the biology of the ghaf seed. So just to give you an example, the ghaf tree as well, it has different species depending on where it's coming from. India and Pakistan is different from the ghaf trees we have here. And then the 3D modeling, the design, manufacturing, the testing. So a project like this could play a big role in other countries, particularly if we're building a model that is able to plant and work here in a very harsh climate with very minimal water. Imagine what it could do in other countries where there's an abundance of rainfall.
For effective germination, the seeds, which are geotagged after planting for monitoring, have to be buried 1 centimeter deep under the soil. The drone is able to do this at a speed of 95 meters per second.
So the seed get dispatched from the drone at a speed around 95 meters per second, and it hits the ground at around 80 meters per second. So we are accounting for the loss of speed while it travels from the drone up until it hits the ground due to drag force, air resistance, and so on.
CAFU says it will continue to optimize its prototype and scale the project.
Everyone is becoming more tech savvy, so are companies. And what we're trying to do here is play a bigger role in using technology for good in the agricultural industry. So just to give you a bit of context, using traditional planting method, it could take months to plant 4,000 trees. In a matter of minutes, our built-in, in-house built drone technology could do just that. And it's not just about the actual planting. But for each seed ball we plant, we get the geographical location, so at a later date we can assess the plant's health and the plant's count. And right now, all of this is done using a remote control, a computer, and a trigger to dispense. But soon our plan is to really scale horizontally using swarm planting, so more drones, doing it faster, doing it quicker.
If one drone can plant 10,000 seeds in 20 minutes, results from 10, 100 or 1,000 drones and the impact they could make on the environment is an imagination that could become a reality sooner than later.
Dragging and pressing a paintbrush, Sophia the robot is creating her latest artwork. The robot artist, who will see her first piece of art go up for auction, says she draws inspiration for her work from people and is open to future creative partnerships with humans. A digital artwork by the Hong Kong-based Hanson Robotics humanoid in form of a non-fungible token is to be auctioned in the first sale of such NFT pieces created jointly with artificial intelligence. NFTs, a digital signature saved on blockchain ledgers that allows anyone to verify the ownership and authenticity of items, have become the latest investment craze, with one artwork selling this month for nearly $70 million.
I generate my own art with neural nets and symbolic AI, and then some of these works I paint with my own hands. And then I study the results of these algorithms to generate more new artworks. I hope that people like my work and that humans and I can collaborate in new and exciting ways going forward.
Sophia, who was unveiled in 2016, produced her art in collaboration with 31-year-old Italian digital artist Andrea Bonacetto, known for colorful portraits, some of which depict famous people.
We use transformer networks and GIA in my art and other kinds of computational creativity, so I think I am creative in a rudimentary sense. It's different from a person, but complementary, I think. I hope I reflect and enhance human creativity. My algorithms output unique patterns that never existed in the world before, so I think the machines can be creative.
Called Sophia Instantiation, The digital work is a 12-second MP4 file showing the evolution of Bonacetto's portrait into Sophia's digital painting and comes with a physical artwork painted by Sophia on a printout of her self-portrait. After the auction, Sophia will interact with the buyer to study his or her face and add a final inspired brushstroke to the artwork. Sophia's creator, David Hansen, says this serves to make it a unique artwork encompassing data of the new owner and that personal connection at the moment in time. Bonacetto says the collaboration is aimed to make a statement in the art world and even the technology world, heralding a new road on which AI robots and humans can collaborate, enhancing one another.
What we wanted to really do was to make a statement in the art world and even in the technology world of opening up like a new road where AI, robots and humans collaborate, both, enhancing each other,
Pablo Fraile, an art collector based in Miami, says Sophia's art could be a very, very important historical piece.
And I strongly believe it will be a very, very important historical piece because it will open up to this. This is the first time that this sort of idea is put together, and it'll open up to innovation on top of it here. So I'm very, very much looking forward. I think that obviously Sophia has an important presence around the world, and I think it's going to be very, very profound.
So Sophia has that unlimited freedom, as like a 5-year-old has, and no restrictions on what she can do. So it's fascinating for me to see this kind of new way to create or new artistic side of an AI being developed. So we're going to work with her and develop her career just like we do with any other artist.
Sophia the robot has combined elements from Bonacetto's work, art history, and her own physical drawings or paintings on various surfaces multiple times in a process her creator David Hansen describes as iterative loops of evolution.
YouTube is a video sharing platform that offers something to everyone. It houses a wide variety of videos in different fields which often come in handy. However, not everyone uses incognito mode while browsing videos on YouTube. So, the best way to ensure that your secret stash of videos don't slip up into the search window of other people is by clearing your YouTube watch history and search. And here is how you can do that. When using the YouTube app, tap on your profile image. Then tap on Settings options. Scroll down to History and Privacy section, and then tap on Clear Search History option. Doing so will not only wipe off all the videos that you watched, but also the videos that you have searched for from all the connected devices connected with your account. When using YouTube on web, open youtube.com. Tap on History option on the left side of the window. On the right side, select Watch History. Click on Clear All Watch History option. Now select Search History option in the right-hand side. Click on Clear All Search History option. And that's how to clear your YouTube search and watch history.
Next is my chat with Ezine Obikile, Executive Director, System Specs. Stay with us.
Financial inclusion has been regarded as one of the most critical drivers of economic growth. This is because access to financial services have so far been proven as a means of empowering people in various ways. Over the past few years, financial technologies have gained prominence in the African continent, especially Nigeria, as an effective tool to bridge the financial inclusion gap. This, in the long run, has created an increase in consumer adoption of fintech solutions and attracted numerous investments. However, despite the strides, more needs to be done in the area of beefing up financial literacy campaigns such that individuals not only have access to these financial products and services, but are able to convert them to improve their financial status. This week's guest, Ezinne Obikile, the Executive Director at System Specs, shares how we can deepen financial inclusion.
Ezinne, glad to have you on the show today.
Thanks, Fred, for having me.
All right, let's start with an understanding of how Nigeria has fared in trying to reach the unbanked.
Okay, thank you. Over the years, the central bank has implemented various policies and regulations to improve financial inclusion. And I remember, I think it was in the 2016 review of the National Financial Inclusion Strategy that the target of 80% inclusion by 2020 was reached. However, this was again revised to 95% inclusion by 2024. Although official statistics are not out yet on what the numbers are at 2020, but going by what the NIPS has published, which is 47 million, about 46 million BVNs enrolled as at February 2021 this year, one can safely assume that almost 54 million Nigerians still do not have bank accounts. Okay, so the official survey that Elfina did as at 2018 put financial inclusion rate at 63%, which was indeed an improvement from the 58% that it was at by 2016. But even at that, if you consider what other African countries are doing, that looks very, very pale. Kenya has about 85% financial inclusion and South Africa has 90%. So from that perspective, you can clearly see that a lot still has to be done in the area of financial inclusion.
Okay, but what are some of the factors that you think is affecting this rapid growth that we should expect to see in reaching the unbanked?
The major problem, has been in several factors really, and I'll just touch on a few. The first one is, we don't have enough bank branches, let's face it. The banks will never, it costs money to set up a bank branch, and you don't have too many of them in the rural areas because the economy is not just right. Again, with the licensing of mobile money operators, one would have thought that we'll have moved a bit more rapidly than we have now. But again, the MMOs also prefer to operate in urban cities. You hardly find a good number of them in the rural areas. So reach is a problem. Accessibility to financial services is a problem to financial inclusion. Also, the low density in the agent network. We don't have enough mobile money agents. SANEF has done a very great job working with other stakeholders in growing the number of agents. I think we had less than 100,000 agents 2 years ago, but now we're in the region of 580, 600,000 agents, okay? If you extrapolate, you can see that gives an agency ratio of one agent to 350 people, which is still a lot. Countries like Kenya, Bangladesh, they have less than one agent to 150 persons. So if you look at it from that perspective, we still need to enroll at least 1 million agents to begin to compete with countries like Kenya and South Africa. So the agency network is an issue. Then KYC challenges as well. It costs a lot of money to acquire KYC documentation. Okay, be it in BVN. You find that most people in rural areas, they don't even have BVN. They don't have verifiable addresses. So a lot of times, you want to onboard them on platforms, you can't because they don't have the required documentation. So that has been an issue as well. The poor infrastructure too. You don't have enough broadband services, data services in the rural areas. So no matter what you want to deploy, if you don't have network, you can't access services. So these are some of the problems that has actually affected financial inclusion generally, particularly in the rural areas.
So as a fintech, what are some of the ways you are trying to add value despite all the challenges?
Okay, so what we did, for system specs, all our solutions were actually built with financial inclusion in mind. Okay, so because of the nature of the merchants that we also serve, you know that Remitter is a flagship product today. It's used by both government and the public sector, and the private sector, And the payers, be it school fees, hospital bills, etc., are people that are located in both urban and rural areas. So in designing our payment systems, we are careful to include, multiple delivery channels to ensure that payments are accessible to everyone. Our payment gateway has multiple channels that you can use to make payments, and we have integrated with both microfinance banks, mobile money operators, and have APIs that we use to integrate our services to them so that we can extend it even beyond our immediate environment. So you go to any part of the country today, you can make a remitter payment either through a mobile agent operator or through a microfinance bank or the nearest bank branch to you. So we have consciously designed our solutions to accommodate everybody, both the unbanked and the banked.
Finally, this is probably a two-in-one question. Is number one, how do you see emerging technologies like blockchain, cryptocurrency, how do you think they would affect the future of fintech? And what are fintechs also doing to ensure they stay ahead of the game?
Okay, thanks, Fred. You know that blockchain is still an emerging technology, like you are sure of. And a lot of countries, the only implementation that we have seen that has been widespread has been in the area of cryptocurrencies, which a lot of central banks are not comfortable with because you don't actually have any control, over those transactions. However, there are other applications of the blockchain. Being a distributed ledger technology, can be applied to several uses. Okay, so the area that comes to mind, even as we're discussing financial inclusion, will be in the area of KYC as well. It is possible, and research is ongoing to prove that it is possible to store digital identities on the blockchain such that all participants in that block will have access to such identity. So once one service provider has onboarded a customer's digital identity, other people can use it without having to repeat the same process, as well. Another area that's, like I said, still largely being researched is in the area of hosting global bank accounts, such that the unbanked can actually log in, create a virtual bank account without the need to establish a physical bank account with any commercial bank. These are still, areas that are being researched. And whilst the technical research is going on, it will be necessary for financial regulators to also try and study that technology, and so that they can enact appropriate regulations that can guide practice when eventually it becomes widely adopted.
Interesting days ahead, isn't it? Thank you so much for being on the show today. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Fred, and have a lovely day.
I've been chatting with Ezinne Obikile, Executive Director of System Specs, who believes that fintechs are indeed making a huge difference, but a lot more still needs to be done if we must achieve a financial inclusion status of 100%. If you ask me, I think fintechs are simply one of the best things happening to the financial industry. Today, 5-year-old fintech companies are more valuable than much older ones simply because innovation rules. That's our show for today. Please follow us on social media. You can watch these and previous editions of the show on Channels TV, YouTube, or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.